When fashion blogger Lena Brooks lands her dream role, she never expects to face the man who once humiliated her. Tech billionaire Beckham Royce. Old wounds clash with new sparks, but can she trust him now? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Lena Brooks's Brooklyn apartment. At 26, she had built something special with her body-positive fashion blog. Today was no ordinary day. Today could change everything. Lena stood in front of her closet, examining her reflection in the full-length mirror. Her dark brown skin glowed, and her curves filled out the bold red dress perfectly. She had learned to love her full figure after years of society telling her not to. "You're going to knock them dead," said her sister Nia, leaning against the doorframe. "Just remember who you are when you walk into that fancy Manhattan office." Lena smiled. "I'm not nervous." "Liar," Nia laughed. "But you should be excited. Creative director for a whole new fashion app, that's huge." Lena checked her makeup one last time. "They promised me full control, a real chance to make clothes for women who look like us, not just size zeros." "Just watch yourself," Nia warned. "These tech guys talk big about change but usually want the same old thing." "Not this time," Lena said, grabbing her portfolio case. "I've got the contract to prove it." The taxi dropped Lena off in front of a gleaming skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan. 62 floors of glass and steel housing some of the most powerful companies in fashion and technology. Her heart raced as she checked in with security. "Lena Brooks for the 10 a.m. meeting with Pinnacle Tech Ventures," she told the receptionist on the 47th floor. The young woman looked up with a smile. "They're expecting you in the main conference room. Follow me." Lena took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders. This moment was 3 years in the making. 3 years of building her blog, connecting with plus-size women across America, and proving that fashion belonged to everyone. The receptionist opened heavy glass doors to reveal a long conference table surrounded by men in expensive suits. Their conversation stopped when she entered. "Ms. Brooks, welcome," said an older man, rising to greet her. "I'm Walter Kensington, head of Pinnacle's fashion division." Lena shook his hand firmly. "Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Kensington. Please call me Walter. We're thrilled to have you on board. Your vision for inclusive fashion is exactly what this project needs." As Walter introduced her to the other executives, Lena felt a growing confidence. These men were listening to her, really listening, until the door at the far end of the room opened. Time seemed to slow down as a tall man with dark hair and piercing blue eyes walked in. He wore a perfectly tailored grey suit that highlighted his broad shoulders. Lena recognized him instantly. Beckham Royce, CEO of Royce Analytics, the man whose fashion AI software had transformed the industry, the man who 3 years ago had publicly stated he wasn't attracted to curvy women, the man who had humiliated her. Their eyes met across the room. His smile faded slowly as recognition dawned. "Ms. Brooks," Walter said, oblivious to the tension, "I'd like you to meet Beckham Royce, our primary investor for this project." Beckham approached with an outstretched hand, his expression unreadable. "You're the creative director?" Lena took his hand, her grip firm despite her racing heart. "And you're the man who prefers non-curvy women. Hope my unprofessionalism doesn't ruin your aesthetic." The room went silent. Walter looked between them, confusion clear on his face. "You two know each other?" he asked. "We've met," Lena said coolly. "At the Fashion Tech Summit 3 years ago." Beckham cleared his throat. "Let's get started with the presentation, shall we?" For the next hour, Lena outlined her vision for the app, a platform that would revolutionize shopping for plus-size women, using AI to recommend styles that flattered rather than concealed. As she spoke, she noticed Beckham watching her intently, not with disdain, but with something she couldn't quite identify. "The problem with current apps," she explained, "is they try to hide curves. I want to celebrate them." "Bold approach," commented one executive. "But will it sell?" Lena pulled up market research on the screen. Plus-size women spend billions on clothing every year, but 84% report feeling underserved by existing brands. "We're not a niche market. We're an untapped gold mine." The room nodded in approval, all except Beckham, who remained unnervingly quiet. After the presentation, Walter clapped his hands. "Impressive, Ms. Brooks. Truly impressive. I think we've found exactly the right person for this job." As the meeting broke up, Lena gathered her materials, determined to leave without another interaction with Beckham, but as the others filed out, he remained. "Ms. Brooks," he said, closing the door, "I'd like a word." Lena faced him squarely. "I have nothing to say to you. Then perhaps you can listen. His voice was deeper than she remembered. That comment I made years ago was honest, I'm sure, she cut in. Don't worry, Mr. Royce. I'm not here for your approval. I'm here because I'm the best person for this job. I don't doubt that, he said, surprising her. Your presentation was excellent. Lena narrowed her eyes, searching for the trap. Thank you. Now if you'll excuse me, will you be able to work with me? He asked bluntly. Because this project matters to me. It's personal. She laughed without humor. Personal? How? You made it very clear what you think about women who look like me. People change, Miss Brooks. Not billionaires, she said. You just get more careful about what you say in public. His jaw tightened. You don't know me. I know enough. She moved toward the door. But don't worry. I won't let my feelings about you interfere with my work. This project is too important. That evening, Lena sat with Nia in their favorite restaurant, picking at her food. I should have walked out, she said. The minute I saw him. Nia shook her head. And give up the opportunity of a lifetime? No way. You don't understand. Being in the same room with him brought it all back. Lena put down her fork. I was sitting right there in that audience when he said it. I don't date curvy women. Not attracted to them. Like we're some kind of defect. Men say stupid things all the time, Nia reasoned. Especially rich ones who think the world revolves around them. It's not just what he said. It's what it represents. Lena sighed. Every door that's been closed to women like us, every designer who won't make clothes past size 10, every guy who wants to date you but won't introduce you to his friends. So make him eat his words, Nia said simply. Create something so amazing he has to admit he was wrong. Lena's phone buzzed with an email. She read it and her eyes widened. What is it? Nia asked. Beckham Royce. He wants to meet tomorrow, just the two of us. Beckham's office occupied the top floor of the Royce Analytics building. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of Manhattan, but Lena wasn't there for sightseeing. Thank you for coming, Beckham said, rising from behind a massive desk. Your email said it was important, she replied. He gestured to a seating area by the windows. Coffee? No, thank you. I'd prefer we get to the point. Beckham nodded, unbuttoning his suit jacket as he sat across from her. I want this project to succeed, Ms. Brooks, and that means we need to clear the air between us. There's nothing to clear. You have your opinions. I have mine. What I said at that summit was thoughtless and narrow-minded. He leaned forward. I can't take it back, but I can tell you it doesn't reflect who I am today. Lena crossed her arms. And I'm supposed to believe you've had some kind of revelation, that suddenly you see the beauty in all body types. I'm asking for a professional relationship, he said. Nothing more. Fine, is that all? Beckham stood and walked to his desk, returning with a folder. I'd like you to look at these designs. Early concepts from our team. Lena flipped through the pages. The clothes were beautiful, but still conservative, still hiding curves rather than celebrating them. This isn't what I pitched yesterday, she said. I know. That's why I wanted to meet. I need you to explain your vision to the design team directly. Make them understand what you showed us yesterday. She looked up at him suspiciously. You're giving me control over the design direction. Complete control, he confirmed. Walter and I agreed. This is your project now. Lena wasn't sure what to make of this. Why? Because you were right, he said simply. About the market opportunity, about what women want, and because I trust your judgment. Trust. From the man who'd publicly dismissed women like her. It didn't add up. There's something you're not telling me, she said. Beckham hesitated, then sat back down. My sister, Emily. She struggled with body image her entire life. Diets, exercise programs, even considered surgery. Nothing was ever enough. This was unexpected. Lena stayed silent. 2 years ago she discovered your blog, he continued. Started following your work. It changed how she saw herself. She stopped trying to be something she wasn't. Your sister reads my blog. Lena couldn't hide her surprise. Religiously. A small smile touched his lips. When Walter brought your name up for this project, I almost said no. I was embarrassed about what you'd heard me say. You should be, Lena said, but without the edge from before. I am. He met her eyes directly. Emily never knew I said that. She'd be ashamed of me. I'm ashamed of myself. Lena studied his face, looking for deception. She found none. I'll work with your design team, she said finally, but I won't compromise my vision. I wouldn't expect you to. He stood, extending his hand. Partners. She took his hand cautiously. Professional partners. Nothing more. Of course. But something in his eyes suggested this was just the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, Lena threw herself into the project. She worked directly with designers, programmers, and marketing teams. To her surprise, Beckham gave her exactly what he'd promised: complete creative control. One evening, as she was reviewing mock-ups in the project room, he appeared in the doorway. "It's nearly midnight," he said. "Don't you ever go home?" Lena looked up, startled. "I could ask you the same thing." He entered carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Thought you might need this." "Thanks." She accepted the cup, their fingers brushing briefly. Beckham looked over her shoulder at the designs. "These are good, really good." "They're getting there," she said. "The algorithm still favors certain body types over others. We need to fix that." He pulled up a chair next to her. "Show me." For the next hour, they worked side by side, identifying flaws in the system and finding solutions. Lena was surprised by his technical knowledge, and even more surprised by how easily they collaborated. "Why fashion tech?" she asked during a break. "What drew you to this industry?" Beckham leaned back in his chair. "My mother was a seamstress, worked for a high-end designer in the garment district. I grew up surrounded by fabric swatches and pattern pieces. So you got your love of fashion from her? And my love of technology from my father. He was always tinkering, building things." His expression softened with memory. "They both died when I was in college, car accident." "I'm sorry," Lena said, meaning it. "Emily and I had to figure things out on our own after that." He sipped his coffee. "Maybe that's why I built walls. Easier than dealing with loss." The moment felt too intimate. Lena returned her attention to the screen. "We should finish this tomorrow." "It's late." Beckham nodded, standing. "I'll walk you out." In the elevator, they stood in silence. Lena was acutely aware of his presence beside her, the subtle scent of his cologne. "My car can take you home," he offered as they reached the lobby. "I'm fine with a taxi." "It's midnight in Manhattan, Lena." It was the first time he'd used her first name. "Please, I'd feel better knowing you got home safely." Something in his tone made her relent. "All right, thank you." His driver held the door of a sleek black car. As Lena settled into the soft leather seat, Beckham leaned down. "You're doing amazing work," he said quietly. "Thank you for giving this project a chance, for giving me a chance." Before she could respond, he closed the door and stepped back. Through the window, their eyes met one last time before the car pulled away. Lena leaned back, closing her eyes. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to see him as a person with depth, with pain, with regrets. She wasn't supposed to feel this strange pull toward him. But as the car carried her through the nighttime streets of New York, she couldn't deny that something had shifted between them. And it terrified her, because Beckham Royce was exactly the kind of man she'd promised herself to avoid: powerful, privileged, and with the ability to hurt her in ways she might not recover from. Yet as her phone buzzed with a simple text, "Got home okay?" she found herself smiling despite her better judgment. "Yes," she typed back. "Thank you." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. "Good night, Lena." She stared at those 3 simple words, feeling as though they contained much more than a casual farewell, as though they marked the beginning of something neither of them had planned. "Good night, Beckham," she replied, and wondered what tomorrow would bring. A month into the project, Lena's days fell into a rhythm. Mornings with the design team, afternoons with the programmers, and evenings increasingly spent with Beckham. Always about work, she told herself, always professional. "We need to talk about the launch event," Beckham said one evening as they sat in the project room, takeout containers scattered between mock-ups and fabric swatches. Lena looked up from her tablet. "What about it?" "The date. Walter wants to move it up by 3 weeks. "That's impossible." She put down her fork. "The app won't be ready." "I know." Beckham ran a hand through his dark hair. "That's why I wanted to talk to you first, before the meeting tomorrow." Lena felt a small thrill at being his first consultation. "We need to present a united front." "Exactly," he smiled, and Lena noticed how it transformed his face, softening the sharp angles. "Walter respects you. If you tell him it's not possible, he'll listen. And if he doesn't?" Beckham's eyes held hers. "Then I'll back you up." The promise hung between them, weighted with something neither was ready to name. Lena broke the gaze first. "I should get home, it's late." "My car is waiting downstairs," he said, now a familiar offer. Outside, rain fell in sheets across the Manhattan skyline. Beckham's driver held an umbrella as they hurried to the car. In the back seat, Lena shivered slightly. "Cold?" Beckham asked, reaching for the climate controls. "Just damp," she smiled. "Hazard of New York in the fall." He hesitated, then shrugged off his suit jacket and placed it gently around her shoulders. The fabric was warm from his body, carrying his scent. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Lena," his voice was low, "I've been wanting to ask you something." Her heartbeat quickened. "Yes? Would you—" His phone rang, shattering the moment. He checked the screen and frowned. "I need to take this, I'm sorry." Lena nodded, trying to hide her disappointment as he answered the call. From his clipped responses, she gathered it was something serious. When he hung up, his expression had darkened. "Problem?" she asked. "Just business." He forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Nothing for you to worry about." But Lena sensed there was more to it. Something he wasn't telling her. The next morning, Lena arrived at the office to find an unfamiliar woman in the project room. Tall, thin, with the kind of effortless beauty that graced magazine covers. "Can I help you?" Lena asked. The woman turned, assessing Lena with cool grey eyes. "So you're the famous Lena Brooks. And you are?" "Victoria Chambers." She extended a manicured hand. "Beckham's fiancée." The word hit Lena like a physical blow. Fiancé. Beckham had never mentioned being engaged. "Ex-fiancé," came Beckham's voice from the doorway. His face was tense. "What are you doing here, Victoria?" Victoria smiled, but it didn't warm her eyes. "Can't I visit my favorite ex? Especially when I hear he's launching an exciting new project." "How did you even get in here?" he demanded. "Your assistant remembered me. She was always so helpful." Victoria turned to Lena. "I'm sorry for the confusion. Beckham and I were engaged last year. Ancient history now." Lena nodded stiffly. "If you'll excuse me, I have a meeting." She brushed past Beckham, ignoring his attempt to catch her arm. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall, trying to steady her breathing. Why did this affect her so much? It wasn't as if she and Beckham were anything more than colleagues. But the sight of Victoria, exactly the type of woman Beckham had publicly preferred, brought back all her insecurities in a rush. "Lena, wait." Beckham appeared beside her. "Let me explain." "You don't owe me any explanations, Mr. Royce." She straightened, professional mask firmly in place. "Your personal life is your business." "Victoria and I have been over for a long time," he insisted. "She's just trying to cause trouble. Like I said, it's not my concern." Lena started walking toward the conference room. "We have a meeting with Walter, remember?" Beckham caught up, lowering his voice. "It is your concern if it affects our working relationship." "Our working relationship is fine." She stopped, turning to face him. "Unless there's something else you're not telling me that might impact the project." He hesitated just long enough for Lena to know there was. "I didn't think so," she said, and continued walking. The meeting with Walter went as expected. He pushed for the earlier launch date. Lena firmly explained why it wasn't possible. True to his word, Beckham backed her up. "If Lena says we need the full timeline, then we need it," he told Walter. "The quality of this launch is everything." Walter eventually relented, but not before adding a condition. "We need to start the publicity campaign now then. Get people excited." "What did you have in mind?" Lena asked. "A photo shoot. You and Beckham for the cover of Innovation magazine. Their Visionaries issue." Lena glanced at Beckham, who looked as surprised as she felt. "Is that necessary?" she asked. "The app should be the focus, not us. People connect with people, Ms. Brooks, not software." Walter smiled. "Besides, you two make a compelling pair, the brilliant plus-size fashion expert and the tech genius. It's a great story." After the meeting, Lena headed straight for her office, Beckham following close behind. "We don't have to do this," he said once they were alone. "I can talk to Walter. And what would you tell him?" She turned to face him. "That you don't want to be photographed with someone who looks like me." Hurt flashed across his face. "That's not fair, Lena. I've never given you any reason to think that's how I feel now. Haven't you?" She crossed her arms. "Your ex-fiancé looks exactly like the type of woman you said you preferred. Thin. Perfect. Victoria and I were a mistake," he said quietly. "One I'm not interested in repeating." "Because she left you? Because she said you don't feel anything?" The words were out before Lena could stop them. Beckham's expression hardened. "How do you know what she said?" Lena realized her mistake. I may have looked you up online after we met again. There was an article about my failed engagement. Of course." He laughed bitterly. "Did you enjoy reading about my personal life being torn apart in public?" "No, I didn't," she said honestly. "I'm sorry, that was out of line." He sighed, the anger leaving him. "She was right, you know. I didn't feel anything. Not with her, not with anyone. Not until—" He stopped himself and Lena's heart hammered in her chest. "Not until what?" she asked softly. Their eyes locked, and for a moment Lena thought he might close the distance between them, but instead he He stepped back. "We should do the photo shoot," he said, changing the subject. "It's good for the project." Lena nodded, trying to ignore her disappointment. "Fine, for the project." The photo shoot was scheduled for the following week at a studio in Chelsea. Lena arrived early, nervous despite herself. She'd chosen a form-fitting emerald dress that highlighted her curves rather than hiding them. The stylist approved immediately. "Perfect. You look amazing." Beckham arrived as she was finishing hair and makeup. He stopped in the doorway, staring at her with an intensity that made her cheeks warm. "You look beautiful," he said simply. "Thank you." She took in his tailored black suit. "You clean up pretty well yourself." The photographer, a young woman with bright pink hair, ushered them onto the set. "I'm thinking we start with something professional, then move to more relaxed poses." For the first hour, they maintained a respectable distance, the consummate business partners. But as the shoot progressed, the photographer asked them to move closer. "I need to see the connection between you," she explained. "The creative spark." Beckham's hand rested lightly on Lena's waist. She was acutely aware of his touch, the warmth of his body next to hers. "Relax," he whispered. "You're doing great." "Last setup," the photographer called. "I want you on the couch." "Lena, you're explaining something to Beckham." "Beckham, you're completely focused on her." They settled onto the low sofa, closer than they'd been all day. Lena began gesturing as if explaining a concept, and Beckham watched her with such genuine interest that she almost forgot they were being photographed. "Perfect," the photographer snapped away. "That's exactly the dynamic I wanted. The mutual respect, the partnership, it's all there." When the shoot ended, Lena felt strangely deflated. The artificial intimacy had felt so real, so right. "Drink?" Beckham asked as they left the studio. "To celebrate surviving our first media circus?" Lena hesitated, then nodded. "One drink." They found a quiet bar a few blocks away, settling into a corner booth. Lena ordered a glass of red wine, Beckham a whiskey neat. "That wasn't as bad as I expected," she admitted after her first sip. "You're a natural," he smiled. "The camera loves you." "I doubt that," she laughed. "But it was kind of fun." "Can I ask you something?" His tone turned serious. "That day at the summit, were you there to hear me speak?" Lena nodded. "I was just starting my blog. You were the keynote. I was excited to hear about how AI could change fashion. And then I said what I said." "During the Q&A," she confirmed, "someone asked about your dating preferences and you just answered honestly." He winced. "I was an idiot." "Yes, you were." But she smiled slightly. "Though I have to admit your honesty was refreshing. Most men think those things but know better than to say them out loud." "I hurt you," he said quietly. "I saw it on your face that day. I just didn't care enough to do anything about it then. And now? Now I care." His eyes held hers, more than I expected to. The admission hung between them, changing everything and nothing. "Beckham," she began, but was interrupted by his phone buzzing. He checked it and frowned. "I need to take this." "I'm sorry." Lena nodded, watching as he stepped outside to take the call. Through the window, she could see his expression grow increasingly tense. When he returned, his face was apologetic. "I have to go. There's a situation at the office." "Of course." She tried to hide her disappointment. "I understand." He hesitated, then took out his wallet and placed cash on the table. "Take a cab home. I'd offer my driver, but I need to go straight to the office." "I'll be fine," she assured him. "Go. Handle your crisis." He squeezed her hand briefly. "Rain check?" "Sure." But as she watched him leave, Lena wondered if they'd ever get back to this moment, this precipice they'd been about to step off together. The next morning, Lena arrived at the office to find the project team in disarray. Programmers huddled in corners, speaking in hushed tones. Designers looked worried. "What's going on?" she asked Marissa, one of the designers. "You haven't heard?" Marissa's eyes widened. "Beckham's selling the company. Royce Analytics is being acquired by Datacore." Lena felt like the floor had dropped from under her. "What? When?" "The announcement went out this morning. It's all over the tech blogs." Lena hurried to her office and pulled up the news on her computer. Sure enough, there it was. Breaking: Royce Analytics to be acquired by Datacore in multi-billion-dollar deal. And beneath the headline, a photo of Beckham shaking hands with Marcus Reed, the founder of Datacore, and one of the most notorious figures in the tech industry, known for gutting the companies he acquired. This was what Beckham had been hiding. This was the situation at the office. Her phone buzzed with a text from Beckham. "We need to talk. My office, 10 a.m. Lena stared at the message, hurt and anger warring inside her. He'd known this was coming. All those late nights working together, all those almost moments, while he was planning to sell the company out from under them. At 10 a.m. sharp, she knocked on his office door. "Come in," called his familiar voice. Beckham stood by the windows, looking out at the city. He turned when she entered, his face grave. "You've heard," he said. Not a question. "Were you ever going to tell me?" Lena demanded. "Or was I supposed to find out with everyone else? I wanted to tell you yesterday after the photo shoot. That's why I asked you for a drink. But then your phone rang," she said bitterly. "Another crisis. The final negotiations." He moved toward her. "Lena, please understand. This deal has been in the works for months since before you came on board. I couldn't say anything until it was finalized. What happens to the project now? To the app?" She fought to keep her voice steady. "To all the women counting on this?" "Nothing changes," he insisted. "The project continues exactly as planned. That was part of the deal." "With Marcus Reed in charge?" She laughed without humor. "The man who fired the entire development team at GreenTech after he bought them, who shuttered Lifestyle's inclusive fashion line because it wasn't profitable enough." Beckham's expression faltered. "I made sure our project was protected. On paper, maybe." She shook her head. "But we both know how these things work. New management, new priorities. I'll still be involved," he said, "as a consultant." "A consultant with no actual power." She stepped closer, searching his face. "Why, Beckham? Why sell now, when we're so close to launching something that could really matter?" He looked away. "It's complicated. Try me." He sighed, gesturing for her to sit. She remained standing. "5 years ago, when I started Royce Analytics, I took on investors. One of them was Marcus Reed." Beckham's voice was tight. "The terms were aggressive. He gets first right of acquisition after 5 years. And the 5 years are up," Lena guessed. "Next month." He nodded. "I tried to buy him out. Offered well above market value. He refused." "So that's it? You just give up? Sell your company, your vision?" "I didn't have a choice." His composure cracked. "Reed threatened to block every partnership, every contract. He would have destroyed us slowly if I didn't sell." Lena felt some of her anger fade, replaced by a sadness she couldn't quite name. "What about the app? Will he really let us finish it our way?" He promised the project continues as planned, but doubt flickered in Beckham's eyes. "With you as creative director, until he changes his mind." She turned to leave. "I need time to think." "Lena, wait." He caught her arm gently. "There's something else you should know." She looked back at him, waiting. "Part of why Reed wanted Royce Analytics, it's because of you. Your vision for the app. He thinks it's going to be huge. So my work is making him richer," she said flatly. "Wonderful. It means he has financial incentive to let you finish it your way." Beckham's eyes were pleading. "Please don't walk away from this. Not when we're so close. Not when we're so close." The words echoed in her mind, and she wasn't sure if he was talking about the project or something else entirely. "I need to think," she repeated, pulling away from his touch. "I'll let you know my decision tomorrow." Lena spent the evening pacing her apartment, ignoring Nia's concerned looks. "You're wearing a path in the floor," her sister finally said. "Talk to me." Lena explained the situation, ending with Beckham's revelation about Reed's interest in her work. "So the big bad wolf thinks your app will make money," Nia summarized. "Is that so terrible?" "It's not about the money." Lena sank onto the couch. "It's about the vision, creating something that helps women like us feel seen. And you think this Reed guy will change that? He has a history of it." Lena sighed. "But walking away means letting him win completely. At least if I stay, I can fight for what matters." "What about Beckham?" Nia asked carefully. "Is this just about the app?" Lena was quiet for a long moment. I thought maybe there was something happening between us. Something real. But now I don't know." "You like him," Nia said. Not a question. "I shouldn't." Lena pressed her hands to her eyes. "After what he said. After keeping this acquisition secret. But you do." "Yes," she admitted quietly. "I do." Nia sat beside her, taking her hand. "Then maybe that's another reason to stay, to see where it goes." "What if it goes nowhere? What if I'm just setting myself up to get hurt?" "What if you're not?" Nia countered. "Don't let a man who couldn't say your name back then whisper it now just because you got the whole room watching." Lena looked at her sister in surprise. "I thought you were telling me to give him a chance. I'm telling you to follow your heart, but keep your eyes open." Nia squeezed her hand. "If he's serious about you, about this project, make him prove it." The next morning, Lena walked into Beckham's office without knocking. He looked up from his desk, dark circles under his eyes, suggesting he'd slept as poorly as she had. "I'm staying," she announced. But I have conditions. Relief washed over his face. Name them. 1. I get final say on all design and functionality decisions. No compromises. Done. 2. We accelerate the timeline. Launch in 2 months instead of 3. He frowned. You said that wasn't possible. It wasn't before. But now I don't trust Reed to keep his word. I want this app launched before he can interfere. Beckham nodded slowly. We'll make it work. What else? 3. She took a deep breath. Complete honesty between us. About everything. No more secrets. Their eyes locked. The air between them charged with unspoken possibilities. Complete honesty, he agreed softly. Starting now. Lena nodded, her heart racing. I don't want to be just your colleague, Lena. Beckham stood, moving around the desk until he was standing in front of her. I haven't for a while now. What do you want? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to take you to dinner, not to talk about the project, not as your boss or your partner. His eyes never left hers. Just as a man who can't stop thinking about you. The confession hung between them, honest and vulnerable, in a way she hadn't expected from him. Dinner, she said finally. Tonight. But Beckham. Yes, this doesn't change my conditions. The app comes first. He smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. I wouldn't have it any other way. As she turned to leave, he called after her. Lena? She looked back. Thank you for staying. Something in his voice, in his eyes, told her this was about much more than the project, and despite all her reservations, all her fears, Lena found herself smiling back. Don't make me regret it, she said softly, and closed the door behind her. That evening, Lena stood in front of her closet, discarding outfit after outfit. Wear the blue dress, Nia suggested from the doorway, the one with the wraparound. Too much like something I'd wear to work. Lena pulled out a slinky black number. What about this? Perfect. Nia grinned. He won't know what hit him. As Lena finished getting ready, her phone buzzed with a message from Beckham. Car will be there at 7. Looking forward to tonight. Simple words that shouldn't make her stomach flutter, but did. At exactly 7, the doorbell rang. Lena opened it, expecting the driver. Instead, Beckham himself stood there, holding a bouquet of lilies. You came yourself, she said, surprised. I wanted to. He handed her the flowers. You look stunning. Lena took the bouquet, noticing how his eyes traveled appreciatively over her curves. No disgust, no polite avoidance, just open admiration. Thank you. She stepped back. Come in while I put these in water. In the kitchen, Nia gave Beckham an assessing look. So you're the famous Beckham Royce. And you must be Nia. He extended his hand. Lena talks about you all the time. Funny. She only recently started talking about you. Nia's tone was friendly, but with an edge. And not always in flattering terms. Nia, Lena warned, returning with the flowers in a vase. What? I'm just getting to know your date. Nia's smile was sweet. Making sure he understands how special my sister is. I understand, Beckham said seriously, more than you might think. Something in his tone made Nia's expression soften slightly. Good. Have her home by midnight. I'm not 16, Lena protested, grabbing her purse. And we should go before she starts showing you embarrassing childhood photos. Outside, Beckham's car waited at the curb. As they settled into the back seat, Lena turned to him. I'm sorry about Nia. She's protective. Don't apologize. I like that she looks out for you, he smiled. And I meant what I said. I do understand how special you are. The sincerity in his voice made her breath catch. This was dangerous territory, this softening between them. But as the car glided through the nighttime streets of New York, Lena decided that just for tonight, she would let herself enjoy it. The restaurant was small and intimate, tucked away on a quiet street in the West Village. No flashy sign, no paparazzi, just excellent food and discreet service. How did you find this place? She asked as they were seated at a corner table. My mother used to bring me here when I was young. Beckham's expression turned nostalgic. It was her favorite. Throughout dinner, they talked about everything except work. Lena shared stories of growing up in Brooklyn with Nia, of her early struggles with body image, of finding her voice through her blog. Beckham told her about his parents, about raising his sister after their death, about the pressure to succeed that had driven him for so long. Sometimes I wonder what it's all for, he admitted as they shared dessert. The company, the money, the recognition. What do you mean? Victoria was right about one thing. I didn't feel anything. Not pride in my success. Not passion for the work. Nothing. He looked at her across the table. Not until recently. What changed? Lena asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. I met someone who reminded me why I started in the first place, who made me want to create something that matters. His eyes held hers. Someone who sees me not as Beckham Royce, CEO, but just as me. The air between them seemed charged with possibility. When Beckham reached across the table to take her hand, Lena didn't pull away. "I know we started off badly," he said softly. "I know I hurt you with what I said. But I need you to know that man from 3 years ago. He was a fool, a blind, shallow fool who had no idea what he was missing." Lena's heart raced. "Beckham, let me finish." His thumb traced circles on her palm. "You walked into that conference room a month ago and turned my world upside down. Not just the project, everything. The way I see beauty, the way I see myself. People don't change that quickly," she said, though she wanted desperately to believe him. "Sometimes they do. When they meet the right person." He squeezed her hand gently. "I'm not asking for anything you're not ready to give. Just a chance to show you who I really am, who I want to be." Before Lena could respond, a commotion at the front of the restaurant caught their attention. A woman's voice, loud and angry, cut through the quiet atmosphere. "I know he's here. Beckham Royce. Table for 2. Victoria." Beckham's expression darkened. "How did she—" "There you are." Victoria appeared beside their table, her elegant features twisted with anger. "So this is why you wouldn't return my calls? You're slumming it with your little project?" Lena stiffened, but before she could speak, Beckham stood. "That's enough, Victoria. You're making a scene." "I'm making a scene," she laughed, the sound brittle. "You're the one throwing away everything we built for this." The contempt in her voice as she looked at Lena was unmistakable. "I think you should leave," Beckham said coldly. "Or what?" Victoria tossed her hair. "You'll have me removed? Like you removed me from your life when I wasn't convenient anymore?" "You left me," he reminded her. "Remember, you don't feel anything, Beck. You just collect people, your words. And now suddenly you do?" She looked at Lena with disdain. With her, Lena had heard enough. She stood, gathering her purse. "I'm going to step outside." "Lena, wait," Beckham began, but Victoria cut him off. "Yes, run along. This is between Beckham and me." "Actually, it's not." Lena's voice was steady. "Whatever you had is over. You made that clear when you left. And from what I can see, it was the best thing you ever did for him." Victoria's eyes widened in shock. "Now, if you'll excuse me," Lena continued, "I'd like to finish my evening without any more drama." She walked away, head held high, ignoring Victoria's sputtered response. Outside, the cool night air helped clear her head. What was she doing? Getting involved with Beckham was complicated enough without his ex-fiancée in the mix. Moments later, Beckham joined her on the sidewalk. "I'm so sorry about that. I had no idea she would show up." "How did she know where we were?" Lena asked. He looked uncomfortable. "She must have followed us, or—" He hesitated. "She might have access to my calendar. My assistant used to share it with her, and I never thought to revoke the access." "Convenient," Lena said coolly. "You don't believe I planned this?" He looked genuinely shocked. "Lena, the last thing I wanted tonight was Victoria causing a scene." "What did she want?" Lena asked. "Why is she suddenly back in your life?" Beckham sighed. "The acquisition. She works for Reed. That's how I met him in the first place. The pieces fell into place. So she knew about the deal all along." "Yes. And now she thinks—" He ran a hand through his hair. "She thinks we can pick up where we left off. That my success makes me more attractive to her now." "Does it?" Lena couldn't help asking. "Is that why she's back?" "Probably." His honesty was refreshing. "Victoria always cared more about status than connection." "And what do you care about?" Beckham stepped closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "Right now, just one thing." The intensity of his gaze made her breath catch. When he leaned down, Lena knew she should step back, maintain distance. But instead she found herself moving toward him, drawn by something stronger than caution. Their lips met softly at first, then with growing urgency. His arms encircled her waist, pulling her closer. Lena's hands moved to his chest, feeling his heart racing beneath her palm. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Beckham rested his forehead against hers. "I've wanted to do that since you walked into that conference room," he admitted. "Even though I'm not your type." The question slipped out before she could stop it. He pulled back slightly to look at her, his expression serious. "You are exactly my type, Lena Brooks. I just didn't know it until I met you." The sincerity in his voice made her want to believe him. But as his car pulled up to the curb, a nagging doubt remained. Was this real, or was she setting herself up for heartbreak? "Take me home," she asked quietly. Disappointment flickered across his face, but he nodded. Of course. The ride back to Brooklyn was silent, charged with unspoken questions. When they arrived at her building, Beckham walked her to the door. I meant what I said earlier, he told her, about wanting a chance to show you who I really am. Lena looked up at him, this man who had hurt her once and now held the power to hurt her even more deeply. Good night, Beckham, she said softly, and pressed a brief kiss to his cheek before disappearing inside. Upstairs, she found Nia waiting up for her. How was it? Her sister asked. Lena sank onto the couch. Complicated. She explained about the wonderful dinner, Victoria's dramatic appearance, and the kiss that had left her both thrilled and terrified. So what are you going to do? Nia asked when she'd finished. Lena looked down at her phone where a text from Beckham had just appeared. Thank you for tonight. Despite the interruption, it was perfect. Because of you. I don't know, she admitted. My head says run, but my heart wants to see where this goes. Nia finished for her. Lena nodded, staring at the message. Everything was happening so fast. The project, the acquisition, this unexpected connection with a man she'd once sworn to hate. But as she typed a response, I had a good time too. See you tomorrow. Lena knew she'd already made her decision. For better or worse, she was going to see where this path led, even if it might end up breaking her heart. The weeks following their first date fell into a strange new rhythm. During the day, Lena and Beckham worked side by side, racing against the clock to launch the app before Marcus Reed could interfere. At night, they discovered each other in stolen moments, dinners at out-of-the-way restaurants, quiet walks through Central Park, long conversations that stretched into the early hours. We need to review the latest interface mock-ups, Lena said one morning, laying out designs on the conference table. Beckham leaned over her shoulder, his presence warm and distracting. I like this one, it's clean but still reflects your vision. Our vision, she corrected, turning to face him. They were close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his blue eyes. He smiled. Our vision. A knock at the door interrupted the moment. Walter entered, his expression grim. We have a problem, he announced. Reed wants to sit in on today's progress meeting. Lena and Beckham exchanged concerned glances. Heads too soon, Beckham said. The deal isn't even finalized. He says it's just to get up to speed on the project. Walter didn't look convinced. He's bringing Victoria Chambers with him. Lena stiffened. She hadn't seen Victoria since the restaurant incident 2 weeks ago. When? She asked. 2 hours. After Walter left, Beckham turned to Lena. We don't have to do this. We can postpone. No. Her voice was firm. This is our project. I won't let them think they can intimidate us. He reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. Have I told you lately how amazing you are? She smiled despite her concern. Not since last night. Marcus Reed was exactly as Lena had imagined him. Tall, impeccably dressed, with the predatory smile of a man used to getting his way. Victoria stood beside him, elegant in a tailored suit, her expression smug. Ms. Brooks, Reed extended his hand. I've heard so much about you. All good, I hope, Lena said, matching his firm handshake. Intriguing, certainly. His eyes assessed her coolly. I'm looking forward to seeing what all the fuss is about. Throughout the presentation, Reed asked pointed questions, challenging every decision, every design choice. Victoria took meticulous notes, occasionally whispering in Reed's ear. And you're certain the market for plus-size fashion is substantial enough to justify this investment? Reed asked, interrupting Lena mid-explanation. The data speaks for itself, she replied, pulling up market research. Plus-size women represent over 65% of American women, but are served by less than 20% of fashion retailers. Our app bridges that gap. Interesting theory. Reed's smile didn't reach his eyes. But in my experience, these women don't spend as much on fashion. They're not as invested in their appearance. The room went silent. Lena felt heat rise to her cheeks, but before she could respond, Beckham spoke. That's not what our research shows, Marcus. His voice was controlled but cold. In fact, plus-size women spend more per purchase on average. They're just more selective about where they shop, because so few brands serve them well. And you've become quite the expert on what these women want, haven't you, Beck? Victoria's voice dripped with insinuation. A recent development, as I recall. I think we've covered enough for today, Beckham said, standing. Lena and I have another meeting. Reed raised an eyebrow but nodded. We'll continue this discussion soon. I have some suggestions for the direction of the app. After they left, Lena leaned against the conference table, exhaling slowly. That was worse than I expected. I'm sorry. Beckham moved to her side. Reed's always been difficult, but that comment was completely out of line. It's nothing I haven't heard before. She straightened, determination in her eyes. But it's exactly why this app matters. Men like Reed don't think women like me care about fashion, about looking beautiful. We need to prove them wrong. We will. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the gesture tender. Together. That evening they worked late in Lena's office, ordering Chinese food and spreading mock-ups across every surface. If we move the sizing algorithm to this screen, Lena suggested, users can see recommendations earlier in the process. Beckham nodded, making notes. And what if we add a community feature? Let users share their favorite looks? I love that. She smiled, touched by his enthusiasm. Over the past weeks, he'd become as invested in the app as she was. As midnight approached, Lena stretched, feeling the fatigue of the long day. We should call it a night. Just one more mock-up, Beckham pleaded, boyish in his excitement. She laughed. Fine, one more. He grinned, then grew serious. I've been meaning to ask you something. What is it? My sister's birthday is this weekend. She's having a small party at her place in Connecticut. He hesitated. I'd like you to come with me. Meet her. Lena felt a flutter of nervousness. Meeting his sister felt significant, a step beyond their careful dance of professional collaboration and personal connection. She's a big fan of your blog, he added. She'd be thrilled to meet you. Are you sure? What will she think about us? She'll be happy I finally found someone real. His eyes held hers. Someone who makes me better. Lena's heart raced at the simple honesty in his words. Then, I'd love to come. Emily Royce's home was a charming colonial on 3 acres outside Greenwich. As Beckham drove up the winding driveway, Lena felt her nervousness return. What if she doesn't like me? Beckham laughed. She already likes you. She's been following your blog for years. That's different. I'm not dating her blog. He reached across the console to squeeze her hand. Is that what we're doing, dating? Lena hadn't meant to put a label on it, but the question hung between them. Aren't we? I hope so. His smile was tender. I just wasn't sure you were ready to call it that. Before she could respond, the front door opened and a woman waved enthusiastically from the porch. Emily was shorter than Beckham, with the same dark hair and blue eyes, but where his build was lean, hers was curvy. You're here, she called as they got out of the car. She rushed down the steps to envelop her brother in a hug, then turned to Lena. And you brought Lena Brooks. I can't believe it. Lena found herself wrapped in an enthusiastic embrace. It's wonderful to meet you, Emily. I have every post from your blog saved, Emily confessed, as she led them inside. Your piece on embracing your silhouette changed my life. Throughout the evening, Lena was touched by Emily's warmth and the obvious close relationship between the siblings. As other guests arrived, a small group of Emily's friends, Lena found herself relaxing, enjoying the casual gathering. He looks at you differently, Emily said quietly, joining Lena on the porch later that night. Across the lawn, Beckham was deep in conversation with one of Emily's friends. What do you mean? I've never seen him like this. So, present, Emily smiled. Usually at parties he's checking his phone every 5 minutes, thinking about work. Tonight he's just here, with you. Lena felt a warm glow at her words. He's been surprising me since we started working together. I always knew there was more to him than that cold CEO persona. Emily sipped her wine. After our parents died, he had to grow up so fast. Take care of me, run the company. Somewhere along the way, he forgot how to just be Beckham. He told me about your parents, Lena said softly. I'm sorry. Thank you. Emily's expression grew serious. Can I tell you something? Something Beck doesn't know? Lena nodded, curious. I was at that tech summit 3 years ago. I heard what he said about not dating curvy women. Emily looked pained at the memory. I was in the back of the room. He never saw me. Lena stared at her in surprise. You were there? I had just started following your blog. When I saw you were speaking on a panel, I wanted to hear you in person. Emily shook her head. Then during Beck's Q&A, that question came up, and I was so hurt, so angry, not just for me, but for all of us who don't fit that narrow ideal of beauty. Did you ever talk to him about it? No, I was too ashamed that my own brother could think that way. Emily looked toward Beckham, her expression softening. But I think he's finally getting it, because of you. Lena didn't know how to respond. The revelation that Emily had witnessed that painful moment created a new bond between them, a shared understanding. Whatever you're doing, Emily continued, don't stop. He needs you. As they drove back to the city late that night, Lena was quiet, thinking about Emily's words. Everything okay? Beckham asked, glancing over at her. Just thinking about something Emily said. Should I be worried? His tone was light, but his eyes were questioning. Lena turned to face him. She was there, Beckham. At the summit. She heard what you said about curvy women. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. What? She never told me. She was hurt. Embarrassed. He was silent for a long moment. I had no idea. It's not just about me or even Emily, Lena said quietly. It's about every woman who's ever been made to feel less than because she doesn't fit some arbitrary standard of beauty. Beckham pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to face her fully. I know, and I can't take back what I said that day. I can't undo the hurt it caused. His eyes were sincere in the dim light. But I can promise you this. I'm not that man anymore. You've changed me, Lena, in ways I'm still discovering. The rawness in his voice moved her. Without words, she leaned across the console and kissed him, pouring all her complicated feelings into the connection between them. When they broke apart, Beckham rested his forehead against hers. Stay with me tonight, he whispered. Lena's heart raced at the invitation. They had been taking things slowly, both aware of the complicated intersection of their professional and personal relationships. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. His eyes held hers. I'm falling in love with you, Lena Brooks. The words hung between them, honest and vulnerable. I'm scared, she admitted. Of this, of us, of how much I'm starting to need you. I know. He stroked her cheek gently. Me too. Beckham's penthouse was exactly as Lena had imagined it. Sleek, modern, with stunning views of the city. But as he led her through the space, she noticed unexpected touches. Family photos, Emily's artwork on the walls, well-worn books stacked on side tables. Not what you expected, he asked, noting her surprise. It's more personal. Did you think I lived in a sterile bachelor pad? He smiled. Or slept in my office? Maybe, she laughed. The ruthless CEO never going home. I used to, he admitted, pulling her close. Before you. Now I have a reason to leave work. Their kiss deepened, months of tension and growing feelings culminating in this moment. As Beckham led her toward the bedroom, Lena felt the last of her reservations fall away. Later, lying in his arms, she traced patterns on his chest. Tell me something real, she said softly. Something you've never told anyone. He was quiet for a long moment. Sometimes I think about giving it all up. The company, everything. The business, the pressure, the constant scrutiny. His voice was contemplative in the darkness. Just starting over, doing something that matters. Your work matters, she said. Parts of it, this project with you, that matters. His arms tightened around her. But the rest? The acquisitions? The stock prices? The endless meetings? Sometimes I wonder what my parents would think. If this is what they wanted for me, what did they want? For me to be happy. His voice caught slightly. To find someone to share my life with, to make a difference. Lena raised herself on one elbow to look at him. And have you found those things? In the dim light, his smile was tender. I'm getting closer every day. The next morning, Lena woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. She found Beckham in the kitchen, dressed in sweatpants and a t-shirt, looking younger and more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. Morning, he smiled, handing her a steaming mug. Sleep well? Better than I have in months. She accepted the coffee, touched by the domestic normalcy of the moment. His phone buzzed on the counter. Glancing at it, his expression darkened. What is it? Lena asked. Reed. He wants to meet. Today. On Sunday? That's how he operates. Catching people off guard. Beckham set down his mug. I'll handle it. You stay here, relax. No way. Lena straightened. If this is about the app, I should be there. Lena. Partners, remember? She held his gaze. In everything. After a moment, he nodded. Partners. Reed was waiting in Beckham's office when they arrived, Victoria at his side. His eyebrows rose slightly at the sight of Lena, taking in their arrival together on a Sunday morning. Sorry to interrupt your weekend, he said, not sounding sorry at all. But I had some thoughts about the project that couldn't wait. We're listening, Beckham said, his professional mask firmly in place. Reed handed them each a folder. I've taken the liberty of drafting some revisions to the app's concept. Lena opened the folder and felt her stomach drop. The mock-ups inside bore little resemblance to their design. Gone was the body-positive focus, replaced with conventional beauty standards and a distinctly high-fashion aesthetic. This isn't what we're building, she said, struggling to keep her voice even. It's what you're building now. Reed's smile was cold. Market research suggests this approach will have broader appeal. Your market research is flawed, Lena countered. Our target audience is too narrow, Victoria interrupted. Beckham, be reasonable. You want this app to succeed, don't you? To justify your unusual choice of creative director. The implication was clear. Lena felt her cheeks burn. Lena is the creative director because she's the best person for the job, Beckham said firmly. And these changes go against everything we've been working toward. The acquisition isn't finalized yet, Reed reminded him. Things could still fall through. Technical issues, regulatory concerns, anything could happen. The threat hung in the air. Beckham's jaw tightened. You're trying to back out of our agreement. Not at all. I'm trying to ensure the success of my investment. Reed stood. Victoria will oversee the implementation of these changes. I expect to see progress by our next meeting. After they left, Lena sank into a chair. He's destroying everything we've built. Beckham knelt beside her. I won't let him. How can you stop him? He holds all the cards. Not all of them. Determination hardened his features. Trust me, Lena. This isn't over. Over the next week, Lena watched as their carefully constructed project began to unravel. Victoria inserted herself into every meeting, every decision, pushing Reed's vision while systematically dismantling theirs. The sizing algorithm needs to be more aspirational, she insisted during one tense meeting. Women don't want to see themselves as they are. They want to see what they could be. That's exactly the toxic mindset we're trying to change, Lena argued. Women deserve to feel beautiful as they are. Noble sentiment, Victoria said dismissively. But it doesn't sell products. Day by day, Lena felt her control slipping away. The design team was confused by the conflicting directions. The programmers couldn't keep up with the constant changes. And through it all, Beckham was increasingly absent, locked in mysterious meetings he wouldn't discuss. What's going on with you? Lena finally demanded one evening in his office. I'm fighting for our vision every day, and you're nowhere to be found. I'm handling something, he said vaguely. Just hold them off a little longer. Hold them off. Victoria is rewriting the entire app. Everything we worked for is disappearing, and you're telling me to just hold them off. Frustration and hurt made her voice rise. Are you even on my side anymore? Of course I am. He looked wounded by the question. Lena, you have to trust me. Trust works both ways, Beckham. You promised me honesty, remember? No more secrets. He hesitated, conflict clear in his eyes. I can't tell you yet. Dad's too risky. Risky for who? For you? For the deal? The hurt deepened. Or for us? For everything. He reached for her, but she stepped back. I can't do this. I can't fight them alone while wondering if you've changed your mind about everything. The app, me, all of it. I haven't. His voice was fierce. Nothing's changed for me, Lena. Nothing. Then prove it. She moved toward the door. Show me I'm not just another project you got bored with. For 3 days, Lena didn't hear from Beckham. Victoria took full advantage of his absence, implementing more of Reed's changes while the team looked to Lena for guidance she couldn't provide. What's happening with this project? Walter asked her privately. Reed's people are taking over and Beckham's gone AWOL. I wish I knew, Lena admitted. Just try to preserve as much of our original vision as possible. On the 4th day, Lena arrived at the office to find the project team gathered in the conference room, expressions ranging from confusion to excitement. What's going on? She asked Marissa. Emergency meeting. That's all we know. Moments later, Beckham strode in, looking exhausted but triumphant. Reed and Victoria followed, their faces grim. Thank you all for coming, Beckham began. I have an announcement to make. As of this morning, the acquisition of Royce Analytics by Datacore has been terminated. Murmurs of shock filled the room. Lena stared at Beckham in disbelief. Furthermore, he continued, I've secured new investment for our company and specifically for this project from Pinnacle Ventures. Walter will continue as our liaison. Reed's face was thunderous. This isn't over, Royce. Actually, it is. Beckham's smile was cold. Your non-compete clause prevents you from developing a similar app for at least 2 years. By then, we'll own the market. As Reed and Victoria stormed out, the team erupted in cheers. Lena remained frozen, trying to process what had just happened. Beckham made his way to her side. Can we talk? Privately? In his office, he closed the door and turned to her. I'm sorry for shutting you out, for making you doubt me. How did you do it? She asked. Break the deal. I found investors who believe in our vision. In your vision. He looked exhausted but elated. It took everything I had. Calling in favors, leveraging personal assets. even selling my stake in other companies. But it worked. You risked everything, she said, stunned. Why? Because some things matter more than money or power. His eyes held hers. You matter more. Lena's heart swelled with emotion. Beckham, I love you, Lena Brooks. The words were simple, direct. I love your brilliance, your passion, your refusal to compromise. I love that you made me see beyond my narrow world view. I love that you never let me get away with anything less than honesty. She moved toward him, tears threatening. You could have told me what you were doing. Reed has spies everywhere. I couldn't risk it getting back to him. He took her hands in his. Can you forgive me? Instead of answering, she kissed him, pouring all her relief and love into the connection. When they broke apart, they were both breathless. I'll take that as a yes, he smiled. It's a yes, she confirmed. But don't ever shut me out again. Partners in everything, remember? Partners in everything, he promised. Starting right now. The next month flew by in a whirlwind of activity. With Reed and Victoria gone, the team rallied around Lena's original vision, working day and night to meet their launch deadline. 2 days before the launch, Lena stood in the project room reviewing the final version of the app. It was everything she'd dreamed of. Beautiful, inclusive, revolutionary. A fashion platform that celebrated women of all sizes instead of making them feel less than. What do you think? Beckham asked, coming to stand beside her. It's perfect. She leaned against him, exhausted, but happy. I can't believe we actually did it. Correction. You did it. He wrapped an arm around her waist. This is your vision, Lena. I just helped make it happen. We did it together, she insisted, like everything else. That evening, Beckham surprised her with dinner on the rooftop of his building. A small table set with candles, champagne chilling in a bucket, the lights of Manhattan spread out before them. What's all this for? She asked as he pulled out her chair. To celebrate. The app, us, everything. He poured champagne into 2 flutes. And because I have something to ask you. Lena's heart quickened. What is it? These past months have been the most transformative of my life. He took her hand across the table. Working with you, falling in love with you. It's changed everything. How I see the world, how I see myself. It's changed me too, she admitted softly. The app launches in 2 days. After that, the crazy pace will slow down. He hesitated. I've been thinking about what comes next. For us. And what have you decided? That I don't want there to be a next phase. I just want us to continue. To grow. His eyes were serious in the candlelight. Move in with me, Lena. The question took her by surprise. You want me to move in with you? I want to wake up with you every morning, fall asleep with you every night. His thumb traced circles on her palm. I want to build a life with you, Lena Brooks. Starting now. The sincerity in his voice moved her deeply. This was the man behind the CEO facade. Vulnerable, loving, transformed. Yes, she said simply. Yes, I'll move in with you. His smile was radiant as he leaned across the table to kiss her. When they parted, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. This isn't a proposal, he said quickly, seeing her wide eyes. Not yet. That will come when we're both ready. He opened the box to reveal a stunning emerald pendant on a delicate gold chain. It's beautiful, she breathed. It was my mother's. He removed the necklace from the box. She wore it on special occasions, moments that marked new beginnings. As he fastened it around her neck, Lena felt the weight of the gesture. Not just a gift, but a symbol of her acceptance into his family, his life. I love you, she said, the words coming easily now. All of you, even the parts that still drive me crazy. He laughed, kissing her again. I wouldn't have it any other way. The night before the launch, Lena couldn't sleep. She stood at the window of Beckham's, their penthouse, looking out at the city. Nervous? Beckham asked, joining her. Terrified, she admitted. What if it fails? What if women don't respond to it the way we hope? Then we'll learn and adjust. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. But it won't fail, Lena. It's too important. Too needed. I keep thinking about all the women who will use this app. Women who've spent their lives being told they need to change to be beautiful. She leaned back against him. I want them to feel what I've come to feel. That they're perfect, exactly as they are. Thanks to you, they will. His voice was soft against her hair. Lena turned in his arms to face him. And thanks to you for believing in me. For fighting for this project when it would have been easier to give in. The old Beckham might have given in, he acknowledged. The man I was before you walked into that conference room and turned my world upside down. And who are you now? She asked, searching his face. His smile was tender in the moonlight. A better man. A man who sees beauty in all its forms. A man who's learning to feel everything he spent years avoiding. And how does that feel? Terrifying. He echoed her earlier admission. Wonderful. Real. As he kissed her, Lena knew that whatever happened tomorrow, success or failure, accolades or criticism, they would face it together. Two people who had found each other against all odds, who had challenged each other to grow, to see beyond surfaces to the truth beneath. Tomorrow they would launch an app that might change the fashion industry forever. But tonight, in the quiet of their home, they had already changed something more fundamental: each other. And as they made their way back to bed, wrapped in the certainty of their connection, Lena couldn't help but smile at the irony. The man who once couldn't handle curves had become the man who couldn't live without them, without her. Some transformations happened slowly over months or years, but others like theirs happened in an instant, the moment they were brave enough to see each other, truly see each other, and recognize the possibility of something extraordinary. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but tonight belonged to them, to the love they'd found in the most unexpected of places, with the most unexpected of people. And for now, that was enough. The day of the app launch arrived with clear skies and nervous energy. Lena stood in the bathroom of their penthouse adjusting her outfit, a bold red dress that hugged her curves perfectly. "You look stunning," Beckham said from the doorway, his eyes filled with admiration. "You don't think it's too much?" She smoothed the fabric over her hips. "For a tech launch, it's perfect." He came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You're the face of this app, Lena, the woman who made it all possible. You should shine today." She leaned back against him, drawing strength from his solid presence. "I still can't believe we actually did it." "Believe it." He kissed her cheek. "Today, we changed the fashion world forever." The launch event was held at the Pinnacle Tower in Midtown, a sleek space transformed with screens displaying the app, models of all sizes showcasing fashions that would be featured on the platform, and journalists from every major tech and fashion publication. "Nervous?" Walter asked, joining Lena backstage. "Terrified," she admitted. "What if no one downloads it?" "They will." Walter's confidence was reassuring. "This is exactly what the industry has been waiting for, whether they knew it or not." As Lena peeked out at the gathering crowd, she spotted Nia arriving with Emily. The two had become fast friends over the past weeks, united in their support of Lena and Beckham's relationship and their shared enthusiasm for the project. "5 minutes until we start," a stage manager announced. Beckham appeared at her side, handsome in a perfectly tailored suit. "Ready to make history?" She took a deep breath. "Ready?" The lights dimmed and Walter took the stage to introduce the app. As he spoke about revolutionizing fashion technology, Lena felt her anxiety transform into excitement. This was the moment they'd worked toward for months. And now, Walter concluded, the creative minds behind this groundbreaking platform, Lena Brooks and Beckham Royce. The applause was thunderous as they walked onto the stage together. Beckham squeezed her hand once before they separated to their marked positions. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "Today marks a new chapter in fashion technology, but before we show you the app, I want to tell you a story." He looked directly at Lena, his expression open and vulnerable in a way the public had never seen. 3 years ago, I said something publicly that I've regretted ever since. I dismissed an entire group of women based on narrow beauty standards that I'd never questioned. His voice was clear, unapologetic in its honesty. I was wrong, and it took meeting an extraordinary woman to make me see just how wrong I was. Murmurs rippled through the audience. This wasn't the polished corporate speech they'd expected. "That woman is Lena Brooks," Beckham continued. "She walked into my office 6 months ago and challenged everything I thought I knew, about fashion, about beauty, and about myself." Lena felt tears threatening as he spoke, but she blinked them back. Not now. Not when they were so close to their moment of triumph. "The app we're launching today isn't just about technology," Beckham said. "It's about changing how we see beauty, about celebrating women exactly as they are, not as some outdated standard says they should be." He gestured for Lena to join him. As she moved to his side, he handed her the microphone, a symbolic passing of power that wasn't lost on the audience. "For too long, fashion has been designed for one type of body," Lena began, her voice strong despite her nerves. "Women like me have been told we need to change to fit the clothes, instead of having clothes that fit us." She tapped her tablet, and the screens around the room came to life with images of the app. "Today, that changes. Our app uses AI to match women with clothes that celebrate their bodies, not hide them, that make them feel beautiful, not inadequate. For the next 20 minutes, Lena demonstrated the app's features, the innovative sizing algorithm, the personalized recommendations, the community platform where women could share their experiences. But this isn't just about technology, she concluded. It's about something more fundamental, the right of every woman to feel beautiful, to feel seen, to feel valued, no matter her size, her shape, or her story. The applause was immediate and overwhelming. As journalists surged forward with questions, Lena felt Beckham's hand find hers, squeezing gently in silent support. "Ms. Brooks," called a reporter from Fashion Forward, "critics say the market for plus-size fashion is too niche. How do you respond?" "Look around you," Lena replied confidently. "The average American woman wears a size 16. That's not niche. That's the majority. The real question is why the fashion industry has ignored this market for so long." "Mr. Royce," another reporter pushed forward, "is it true you turned down a multi-billion-dollar acquisition offer to keep this project independent?" Beckham smiled. "Let's just say some things are more important than money." His eyes met Lena's, and in that moment, the subtext was clear to everyone watching. This was more than a business partnership. After the presentation, as guests mingled and downloaded the app, Lena found herself surrounded by women eager to share their stories. "I've been following your blog for years," one woman told, her eyes shining. "This app is going to change everything for women like us." "My daughter is 13, another said. "She already hates her body because she can't find clothes that fit. This might save her from years of what I went through." Each story touched Lena deeply, reinforcing the importance of what they'd created. Across the room, she could see Beckham engaged in animated conversation with investors, his face alight with passion as he explained the technology. "Quite a man you've got there," said a familiar voice behind her. Lena turned to find Victoria Chambers, elegant as always in a designer suit. "Victoria, I'm surprised to see you here." Professional curiosity. Victoria's smile was tight. "I have to admit, the app is impressive, as is the transformation you've worked on, Beckham." Lena wasn't sure how to respond. "He transformed himself. Because of you." Victoria's assessment was coolly objective. "I never saw him like this. Passionate, engaged, actually caring about something beyond the bottom line." Before Lena could reply, Beckham appeared at her side, his posture stiffening at the sight of Victoria. "The app is getting rave reviews already," he told Lena, placing a protective hand on her lower back. "Over 10,000 downloads in the first hour." "Congratulations," Victoria said. "You've created something special here, both of you." The grudging respect in her voice seemed genuine. "Thank you," Beckham replied, his tone civil but cool. Victoria hesitated, then added, "Reed wanted me to remind you that he still owns shares in several companies you do business with. He hasn't forgotten what happened." "Is that a threat?" Lena asked. "Just a reality check." Victoria shrugged elegantly. "Success has its costs, especially when you make powerful enemies." As she walked away, Beckham turned to Lena. "Don't let her get to you. Reed can't touch us now." "Can't he?" Lena wasn't so sure. "People like that don't just walk away when they lose. Whatever he tries, we'll handle it together." Beckham's confidence was reassuring. Today is about celebrating, not worrying about Reed. The rest of the event passed in a blur of interviews, demonstrations, and congratulations. By the time they returned to their penthouse that evening, both were exhausted but elated. 25,000 downloads, Beckham announced, checking his phone, "and the reviews are incredible." Lena kicked off her heels with a groan of relief. "I still can't believe it's real, that we actually did it." "Believe it." He pulled her into his arms. "You did it, Lena. Your vision, your passion, that's what made this happen." "Our vision," she corrected, resting her head against his chest. "I couldn't have done it without you. We make a good team." He kissed the top of her head. "In every way." The weeks following the launch were a whirlwind of media interviews, investor meetings, and constant fine-tuning of the app based on user feedback. The download numbers exceeded even their most optimistic projections, and fashion brands began reaching out, eager to be featured on the platform. One evening, as they worked side by side in their home office, Lena noticed Beckham staring at his computer screen, his expression troubled. "What is it?" she asked. He hesitated, then turned the screen toward her. It showed a financial news site with the headline, "Reed Ventures acquires majority stake in Fashion Central, Royce Analytics' largest retail partner." He's making his move, Beckham said grimly, trying to cut off our access to inventory. Lena felt a chill. Fashion Central supplied nearly 40% of the clothing options on their app. Without them, their catalog would be significantly diminished. Can he do that? Just block us? Legally, no. The contract with Fashion Central is solid. Beckham ran a hand through his hair. But Reed has ways of applying pressure, threatening to withdraw funding, promising exclusive deals if they drop us. So what do? We fight back. Determination hardened his features. Tomorrow I'll start reaching out to other retailers, smaller ones, independent designers, anyone who might benefit from our platform. And tonight, Lena asked, seeing the exhaustion in his eyes. His expression softened. Tonight, I'm all yours. She closed his laptop gently. Good, because there's something I want to talk to you about. Leading him to the living room, Lena sat on the couch, suddenly nervous. I've been thinking about what you said before the launch, about changing how we see beauty. What about it? It's not enough. She leaned forward, passion in her voice. The app is amazing, but it's just the beginning. I want to do more. Like what? A foundation. The idea had been forming in her mind for weeks. To promote body positivity in schools, in the media, to fund research on the psychological impact of narrow beauty standards. Beckham's face lit up. That's brilliant, Lena. You think so? Her excitement grew at his enthusiasm. It would take resources, connections, all of which we have. He took her hands in his. Or can get. This is exactly the kind of impact I've wanted to make. There's more, she said. I want to start a clothing line, not just recommending clothes, creating them, designed specifically for curves, not as an afterthought. A real fashion revolution, he nodded, from the ground up. It would mean scaling back my role with the app, she admitted, focusing on these new ventures. The app can run without your daily involvement now, he assured her. The team is solid, the vision is clear. This is the perfect next step. His unwavering support filled her with confidence. I was thinking we could call the foundation Full Circle, for coming back to where we started, but with a new perspective. I love it. He pulled her close. And I love you, Lena Brooks. Your ambition, your vision, your refusal to settle for good enough. Even when it means more work for you, she teased, especially then. His smile was tender. Nothing worth having comes easy. 3 months after the launch, Lena sat in a downtown restaurant with Nia and Emily, showing them sketches for her clothing line. These are amazing, Emily said, examining a design for a wrap dress. When do you start production? Next month, Lena replied. We've secured a manufacturing partner who specializes in inclusive sizing. And how's Beckham handling all this expansion? Nia asked, a knowing glint in her eye. Surprisingly well, Lena smiled. He's more excited about the foundation than anything else. We're looking at properties for the headquarters next week. You two are the real deal, aren't you? Emily's expression was warm. I've never seen my brother like this. So purposeful, happy. We both are, Lena admitted, even with Reed trying to undermine us at every turn. Since the Fashion Central acquisition, Reed had been waging a subtle war against them, spreading rumors to investors, poaching key employees, even attempting to file patents similar to their technology. How's that going? Nia asked. We're holding our own. Lena's determination was evident. For every retail partner Reed scares away, we find 2 more willing to work with us. The app just hit 1 million downloads. That's incredible, Emily exclaimed. It is, Lena agreed. But the best part is the messages we get from users. Women who finally feel seen, who are finding clothes that make them feel beautiful, not ashamed. That's what matters, Nia nodded. The real impact. Lena's phone buzzed with a text from Beckham. Meeting finished early. Big news. Coming to you now. He's on his way here, she told the others, curious about his big news. Minutes later, Beckham arrived, his face flushed with excitement. After greeting Emily and Nia, he slid into the booth beside Lena. You're not going to believe what just happened, he said. Reed came to my office. Marcus Reed? Lena was stunned. Why? He wants to invest in the foundation. Beckham's expression was a mix of triumph and disbelief. Not acquire it, not control it, just fund it. That's unexpected, Lena said cautiously. What's the catch? That's what I asked. He said there isn't one. Beckham shook his head, still processing. Apparently his daughter is one of our app users. She's struggled with body image her whole life, and the app has helped her. She's the one who convinced him to stop fighting us. Do you believe him? Nia asked skeptically. I'm not sure, Beckham admitted, but he seemed sincere. Said he's been watching what we're building and realizes there's more value in supporting it than trying to destroy it. It could be a trap, Emily warned. Or it could be genuine, Lena said thoughtfully. Either way, his money would help a lot of women. That's what I told him, Beckham agreed. We'll proceed carefully with strong legal protections, but if he's serious, this could accelerate everything we're planning. As they discussed the possibilities, Lena marveled at how far they'd come in just 9 months. From adversaries to partners to lovers. From a simple app to a movement that was changing how women saw themselves and how the world saw them. That evening, Beckham suggested a walk along the Hudson River. The late spring air was warm, the sunset painting the sky in dramatic pinks and oranges. Remember when we first met? He asked as they strolled hand in hand. How much you hated me? Lena laughed. I didn't hate you, I just thought you were shallow and prejudiced. And I was, he admitted readily, until you showed me what I was missing. They stopped at a scenic overlook, the river stretching before them, the city lights beginning to twinkle on the opposite shore. What would you have said, Beckham asked, if someone had told you then that we'd end up here, together, building something that matters? I would have said they were crazy, she smiled, but life has a way of surprising you. Speaking of surprises, Beckham turned to face her fully. There's something I've been wanting to ask you. Lena's heart skipped as he reached into his pocket and withdrew a small velvet box. Unlike the emerald pendant he'd given her months ago, this box was unmistakably ring-sized. Beckham, she breathed. He dropped to one knee, opening the box to reveal a stunning emerald ring surrounded by diamonds. Lena Brooks, you walked into my life and turned everything upside down in the best possible way. You made me see beauty where I was blind. You made me feel things I thought I was incapable of feeling. Tears filled Lena's eyes as he continued. I love you. Your strength, your passion, your refusal to be anything less than exactly who you are. His voice caught slightly. Will you marry me? Be my partner in everything. Life, love, changing the world for the rest of our days. Yes, she said without hesitation. Yes, Beckham Royce. I will marry you. As he slipped the ring onto her finger and rose to kiss her, Lena felt the perfect rightness of the moment. This was where they were meant to be. Two people who had found each other against all odds, who had challenged each other to grow, to see beyond the surface to the truth beneath. It fits perfectly, she said, admiring the ring. How did you know my size? I pay attention, he smiled, to everything about you. She looked up at him. This man who had transformed from someone who couldn't or wouldn't see her beauty into someone who celebrated it, championed it, loved it. I never thought I'd say this, she admitted, but I'm glad you said what you did that day at the summit. Why? He asked, surprised. Because without that moment we might never have had this one. She gestured between them. Sometimes the worst beginnings lead to the best endings. Not an ending, he corrected gently. Just another beginning. As they walked home under the stars, plans and dreams flowing between them, Lena thought about the journey that had brought them here. The hurt, the healing, the growth, the love, the curves in the road that had led them to each other, and she smiled, knowing that sometimes life's most beautiful destinations could only be reached by following the curves he once couldn't handle, but now couldn't live without. 6 months later, Lena stood at the back of a small flower-filled garden in the Hamptons, Emily beside her adjusting her veil. You look incredible, Emily said, tears in her eyes. Beckham is going to lose his mind when he sees you. Lena smoothed the fabric of her custom-designed wedding dress, the first piece from her new line created to showcase curves rather than hide them. Is everyone here? She asked nervously. Everyone who matters, Emily assured her. Naya's keeping Beckham calm. Well, trying to. The music began, a signal that it was time. As Lena prepared to walk down the aisle to the man who had changed her life as much as she had changed his, she thought about the speech she would give at the reception, about how sometimes the right person comes at the wrong time only to reappear when you're both ready to see each other clearly, about how love isn't about fitting someone else's ideal, but about finding someone who sees your true self as the ideal, about how the most meaningful journeys aren't straight lines but beautiful, unpredictable curves. Ready? Emily asked, offering her arm. Lena took a deep breath and nodded. Ready? As she stepped into view, she saw Beckham waiting at the altar, his face transforming with love and wonder at the sight of her. In his eyes, she saw everything she'd ever wanted: acceptance, admiration, partnership, passion. And as she moved toward him, toward their future together, Lena knew that this was just the beginning of their greatest creation yet. A life built on seeing beauty where others couldn't, on challenging expectations, on loving completely and without reservation. A life as full and beautiful as the curves he once couldn't handle, but now couldn't imagine living without. The end.